Jean-Claude Van Damme's life is one of staggering highs and devastating lows, a story of raw ambition, discipline, self-destruction, and redemption. At the height of his fame, he was spending an astonishing $10,000 every single week on cocaine. Directors had to hire special handlers whose only job was to keep track of him because he would vanish for days at a time, missing entire shoots and showing up hallucinating when he finally returned. The heavy drug use didn't just damage his body, it completely derailed what had once been a $100 million career. But shockingly, that wasn't even the darkest chapter of his life. In 1998, after years of chaos and mental strain, he attempted suicide and was later diagnosed with rapid cycling bipolar disorder. When he finally got clean, he thought the worst was behind him. However, in April 2025, Romanian prosecutors brought forward serious trafficking accusations that now threaten to destroy everything he rebuilt. Jean-Claude Van Damme was born on October 18, 1960, in a small district near Brussels called Berchem-Saint-Agathe. His full birth name was Jean-Claude Camille François van Varenberg. His father, Eugene, worked both as an accountant and a florist, while his mother, Eliana, had Flemish roots and spoke Dutch. His father spoke French, making their household bilingual, something that would later help Jean-Claude immensely when he stepped into the global spotlight. He grew up with his sister Veronique in a modest, working-class neighborhood where his parents emphasized discipline, responsibility, and the importance of hard work. But despite their support, Jean-Claude's childhood was far from easy. He was a thin, shy boy who struggled in school and often found himself the target of relentless bullying. He wore thick glasses, had a fragile build, and was frequently mocked by classmates who called him brains in a cruel way. While other kids played sports, he preferred reading comic books and spending quiet hours alone. He would later admit that growing up weak and timid left him feeling powerless. Concerned about his son's lack of confidence, his father decided something needed to change. When Jean-Claude turned 11, he began lifting weights, determined to transform his small frame into something stronger. The gym quickly became his refuge, a place where he could channel his frustration and insecurity into something constructive. Every day he trained relentlessly, vowing never to feel helpless again. At age 12, his father enrolled him in karate classes at the National Center of Karate in Ixelles. His instructor, a tough and disciplined coach named Claude Getz, pushed him harder than he had ever been pushed before. From 1972 to 1976, Jean-Claude trained daily under Getz's watchful eye. The training was brutal, broken noses, bruised ribs, and endless repetition, but it taught him discipline, control, and the foundation of his now famous kicking ability. Despite the pain, he refused to quit. By 1976, at just 16 years old, he had earned a coveted spot on Belgium's national karate team, an incredible accomplishment for a boy who had once been bullied for being weak. Around the same period, Jean-Claude made a surprising decision that few knew about at the time. He secretly began studying ballet. While still training in karate, from age 16 to 21, he took ballet classes 5 days a week. He understood that the balance, flexibility, and grace he could gain from dance would make him a better martial artist. Years later, he would admit that ballet was the hardest training he had ever done, even tougher than martial arts. He never told his karate teammates about it, knowing they'd laugh. Yet ballet became one of his greatest secrets. It helped perfect his movements and gave him the agility that would later define his cinematic fight scenes, including his signature split that became legendary in Hollywood. Jean-Claude's first real karate match came in 1975 when he was just 15 years old. Between 1976 and 1980, he amassed an impressive record of 44 wins and only 4 losses in semi-contact matches. In one of his earliest fights in Brussels, he was nearly defeated when an opponent struck him hard with a roundhouse kick, but Jean-Claude recovered and knocked the man out seconds later. That moment proved just how much heart he had. In December 1979, he helped lead Belgium's national team to victory in a major European tournament held in Brussels. Then, on March 8, 1980, he faced his toughest challenge yet, Patrick Tuggles, a fighter who had beaten him twice before. Midway through the match, Jean-Claude broke his own hand but refused to quit. Moments later, he delivered a powerful kick to Tuggles' nose, forcing him to withdraw. Van Damme won by TKO, cementing his reputation as a fighter who would rather break his bones than back down. Though the injury required surgery and months of recovery, the victory marked him as a true warrior with the heart of a champion. By 1979, at just 19 years old, Jean-Claude won the European Professional Karate Association's middleweight championship. He finished his full-contact fighting career with 18 knockouts and only one recorded loss. Although some critics questioned whether his record had been padded with weaker opponents, most agreed that his technique and power were undeniable. At 20, he decided to take his future into his own hands. He opened a small gym in Brussels called the California Gym, located right next to a cemetery. Despite his optimism, the business struggled. The gym barely made enough to stay open, and Jean-Claude had to take on multiple jobs to survive, delivering pizzas, laying carpets, and even posing for fitness magazines. Many nights he slept inside the gym to avoid paying rent. He lived on leftovers from restaurants and occasionally stole food just to get by. For nearly 2 years, this was his life: hard work, hunger, and relentless training. Every penny he saved went toward a single dream: to go to America and become a movie star. Finally, in 1982, at the age of 21, Jean-Claude made that dream a reality. Accounts vary on how much money he arrived with. Some say $50, others claim $2,000 or even $5,000, but whatever the amount, it wasn't much. He landed in Los Angeles with no English, no acting experience, and no connections. He slept in his car near Venice Beach, showered in public bathrooms, and took any work he could find: cleaning apartments, waiting tables, delivering pizzas, and even working as a limo driver. That job turned out to be life-changing when he met martial arts legend Chuck Norris, who later helped him land small stunt roles. His first on-screen appearance came in 1984's Break-In, where he danced briefly in the background, uncredited. Around the same time, he worked as a bouncer at a bar owned by Norris. Completely broke and often hungry, he sometimes ate from garbage cans just to survive. Still, he trained every single day and never gave up on his dream. Eventually, his hard work paid off when he became a sparring partner for Chuck Norris, a stepping stone that finally got him noticed in the film industry. By 1986, he landed a small but memorable role in No Retreat, No Surrender, playing a ruthless Russian fighter. He was paid only $250 for the part, but he threw himself into it with total intensity, so much so that he accidentally struck several co-stars during filming. The director had to repeatedly remind him to tone it down, but Van Damme was determined to make every punch and kick look authentic. That same year, he took an even bolder step toward his Hollywood dream. While working as a waiter, he noticed producer Menahem Golan dining at the restaurant. Without hesitation, Jean-Claude performed a flawless roundhouse kick while balancing a bowl of soup in his hand. Golan was so impressed that he invited him to his office for an audition. Van Damme waited all day at Canon Films, and when he was finally called in, he immediately took off his shirt and began performing high kicks just inches from the producer's face. Golan was stunned, handed him a script, and said, "Next week in Hong Kong." That script would become Bloodsport. Bloodsport was made on a shoestring budget, somewhere between $1.50 and $2.3 million, and Jean-Claude performed every stunt himself without any safety gear. He did the splits on kitchen counters, executed his own fight choreography, and endured dangerous conditions on set. After production, the film was nearly shelved for a direct-to-video release, but Van Damme begged Golan for the chance to re-edit it himself. He spent weeks tirelessly reworking the fight scenes. When Bloodsport finally hit theaters in 1988, it became a surprise global hit, earning over $50 million worldwide. But not all his Hollywood experiences were triumphant. In 1987, he had a disastrous audition for Predator. Originally hired to wear the creature's alien suit, which cost around $20,000 to build, he found the costume unbearable. The heat and lack of ventilation made him claustrophobic, and he fainted twice during filming. When producers warned him that another episode would get him fired, he snapped, ripping off the expensive mask and smashing it on the ground. Furious, the production team immediately dismissed him and replaced him with a 7-foot-tall actor named Kevin Peter Hall. Still, by 1989, Van Damme's career exploded with Kickboxer. Released on September 8, it earned over $50 million on a modest $2.7 million budget. The movie opened in nearly 1,000 theaters and pulled in $4.1 million its first weekend, ranking third at the U.S. box office. Filmed in Thailand, Van Damme trained with real Muay Thai fighters to make the fight scenes authentic. It became the first Hollywood film to showcase Thai kickboxing to a global audience. One unforgettable moment saw him dancing drunkenly in a Bangkok bar, moving to the music with his shirt open before erupting into a brutal fight. That scene, an odd blend of humor and violence, became iconic and helped make him an international action star while introducing Muay Thai to millions of viewers. That same year, he appeared in Cyborg, a gritty post-apocalyptic film shot in only 23 days on a budget under $500,000. Canon Films had recently lost millions after canceling planned He-Man and Spider-Man movies, so director Albert Pyun quickly wrote Cyborg in a single weekend to reuse leftover sets and costumes. Many of the characters' names were even borrowed from famous guitar brands like Gibson, Rickenbacker, and Marshall Strat. During production, tragedy struck when Van Damme accidentally struck actor Jackson Rock Pinkney in the eye with a prop knife, causing permanent injury. The resulting lawsuit cost the studio nearly $500,000. Despite the chaos and poor reviews, the film earned over $10 million and launched a cult cyberpunk series. In 1990, Van Damme showed a different side of himself with Lionheart, taking on a more emotional and dramatic role. He played Lion Gaultier, a French soldier who deserts the Foreign Legion and enters brutal underground fights in Los Angeles to support his deceased brother's family. The film's fights were raw and bloody, with few rules, and Van Damme suffered multiple injuries during filming, including a dislocated shoulder. In the UK, the movie was released as AWOL, and in Australia, it was titled Wrong Bet. It premiered in France on August 1, 1990, and reached American theaters on January 11, 1991. This was the film that convinced critics and audiences alike that Van Damme wasn't just a martial artist, he could truly act. Later that same year, he starred in Death Warrant, playing a cop who goes undercover in a dangerous prison. The movie made $46 million on a $6 million budget, though production was reportedly slowed by Van Damme's insistence on personally redesigning fight choreography to include his signature spinning kicks. He didn't want to portray just an ordinary officer, he wanted every move to reflect his unique style. Interestingly, the prison interior scenes were filmed in the basement of Los Angeles' Ambassador Hotel, while upstairs, Pretty Woman was being shot at the same time. Ever the perfectionist, Van Damme even assisted with editing to make the fight sequences look sharper. The film's final showdown, featuring his character against a monstrous villain nicknamed the Sandman, was filmed in a single grueling day inside a massive LA power plant. In 1991, he took on one of his most ambitious projects yet, Double Impact. In this film, Van Damme played twin brothers, one calm and charming, the other tough and explosive. Released on July 31st, the movie ran 110 minutes and showcased his acting range as he seamlessly switched between two completely different personalities. Because this was before the era of CGI, the split-screen sequences were achieved using precise camera techniques and real twin stand-ins to make the illusion convincing. The film proved that Van Damme could do more than just throw punches, he could handle complex dual roles. By 1992, his superstardom reached new heights with Universal Soldier, which grossed over $102 million worldwide on a $23 million budget. But behind the scenes, tensions were rising. Van Damme reportedly demanded an extravagant trailer and refused to come out unless his wife, the bodybuilder Gladys Portugues, was present on set. Her travel arrangements caused constant filming delays, as she had to be flown to every location. His co-star, Dolph Lundgren, later remarked that Van Damme had grown increasingly egotistical and difficult to work with, a far cry from the hungry, humble fighter who had once arrived in Hollywood with nothing but a dream.